Hello and welcome to the first Spotlight of 2021. Yeah, the spotlight is on us and wow, what a beginning to a year. Let me just explain a little bit about what God's been stirring in my heart about the year ahead. Lockdown or no lockdown, virus or no virus. It's actually something I think we as a church have been learning, or we as individual brothers and sisters in Christ have been learning over the last year. And the way I can sum it up is in a phrase, deep and wide. I've been learning what it means to go deep in my faith, or for us as a church, as a community of believers, to be deeply rooted in God. There's a beautiful prayer in Ephesians about being rooted in the love of God, to know the depth and the width of the love of God. And how have I found that? Particularly, have I found that without going to church on a Sunday, which has been so kind of usual for me all my life. And what is church if it's not going to church on a Sunday? What is faith, and how do I grow in faith? I've discovered that the depth of my faith isn't dependent on a meeting on Sunday, isn't even dependent on gathering with other Christians to sing hymns and whatever. For me personally, I realise it's dependent on how I meet with Jesus, how I know him. That's when I talk with him and listen to him in prayer, and it's when I read the Bible and I'm filled with his wisdom, and his word forms itself in me. And I've found, I think more than ever in my life in the last year, just that's brilliant and important and lovely. I go deep when I pray and when I read the Bible, just even if it's briefly, I go deep. And I've realised that church is not about a Sunday service. Church is about the people that I'm journeying, doing that depth of journey with. It's the people I'm loving and being loved by, caring for, being cared for. It's the people I'm talking about the Bible with or praying alongside. It's we call them small groups, but it could be a team I'm in, or a few trusted friends, or certainly the group that I'm part of within Rising Brook. And that's church. That's it. And of course, then we get together and we do things together, and we have initiatives and we have ministries and we do mission, and when we can, we gather and we worship together. But essentially, it's a bunch of people. Jesus had his 12. That's church. And so I want us to explore our own personal faith, and explore what it means to be in church, to be a church when there isn't a church to go to. And so we'll look at that over the year. And we'll look at wide is more about, well, we kind of got mission and we do this and we do that, and we've become quite expert in certain missions, particularly in running buildings and hospitality, and that's been brilliant. But without that, what does mission look like? How do I go wide? How do we as a church share the love of God to others? And I've seen such creativity. I've seen that people who are not Christians have been touched by the Holy Spirit. I've seen the impact of care and love, of neighbours, loving neighbours. That's mission, that's width, and I want to explore that. How can we be creative as a church, even if we're not meeting together and doing lots of things together and our buildings aren't open? What does mission look like? How can we go wide with our mission and be really creative? So that's our theme for the year. We're going to explore deep and wide. We're going to explore what it means to be in groups, what it means to be in fellowship, what it means to personally follow Jesus and read the Bible and pray. And we're going to explore mission in all its glory, in all its width, in all its creativity. So there we go. That was about 4 minutes on that, sorry. But I just want to talk about it. So a few other things that are going on at the moment. Really interesting. We've got, Ali will talk about Tuesday Central, but we've got this thing that it's kind of so big and important that it's now on a Monday, and Susan and her team have established BSL training where you can get a qualification in sign language. And it's just been brilliant. The numbers of people in the last few years who've gone on that, and it's growing. This is width. Actually, this is width because it's broadening out those who are Christians, a new language to speak in, but actually inviting in people who don't necessarily have faith, but they want to learn this language. And as they learn this language from people like Susan and Steve who are teaching, and and Dawn, then actually they're going to be picking up something of the love of God as well. It's very exciting. If you'd like, in lockdown, you're thinking, oh, what shall I do? There's nothing to do. Why not sign up for the BSL 1 course on a Monday evening? You'll be able to learn from Christian tutors. You'll get a qualification. You'll be able to engage in what Susan's doing and her mission, be part of the kind of wider work of Open Hands. Brilliant. So let me encourage you, think about that, sign up. And then a third thing for me to talk about on Spotlight this week is the fact we've got a church gathering coming up on the 21st where we can all be together. It's on Zoom again, but it's a chance for as many of us as possible just to be a family together and listen to one another and learn a bit more about this theme, find out what's going on, hear some stories, pray together, have moments of worship and come together and expect when we do that the Spirit of God will come down from heaven as we come up, like I was talking about on Sunday, up out of the waters, that heaven is open, the Spirit of God will fall on us and we'll be filled for this year ahead and certainly for these next few weeks ahead. So do join me on the 21st. Can't wait to see you, can't wait to connect with you, can't wait to see what God does in our lives, even in the midst of this desperate time. God is on the move and he loves to heal, he loves to restore, he loves to fill us and give us a future and a hope.
Hi everyone, I just wanted to mention something that we would really like to encourage you to be thinking about this year, and that is to be asking God and praying and listening to see if he wants to give you a word for the year. Now, word for the year is something that I've done for, I think, the last 4 or 5 years now, and it's just been really meaningful to me. It's given me purpose and focus. It's been really useful to use in small group, to pray for one another. Instead of a New Year's resolution, which, if we're all honest, often we go for it for a few weeks and then we get disappointed. This is very different. It's allowing God to use one word or a phrase just to keep you focused and encouraged for this year. There are loads of resources online. If you Google word for the year or one word 365, that will take you to places that will help you to ask maybe questions, to see where you're going this year and to help you. Some of you may well just instinctively be one of those people who just knows immediately what word you're going to choose. Others of us need a little bit more time to mull it over. If you're anything like me, I like to take a couple of weeks. So don't feel any pressure to do this, but talk with your small groups. It's a great way just to share with one another, to be vulnerable about where you're at, and to pray for each other and to check in throughout the year with what God is teaching you. On Sunday, we reflected on a beautiful image of a tree with its roots spreading wide, and Martin spoke to us about going deep and wide in our faith, and we just encourage you to maybe use this one word idea to help you go into 2021 with a sense of where God is wanting to take you and how he's wanting to speak to you.
Hello everyone, I hope you're having a good week in this first week of the year and this first week of lockdown. I want to tell you a little bit about Tuesday Central and what's coming up over the next few weeks. Because of lockdown and because we want to make sure that we are being really safe and we're standing with everyone in the community to protect the NHS, we're not doing any in-person events at the moment, and Tuesday Central in that same way is all going to be online this term. But we have some great courses coming up for you to join in with. So let me tell you a little bit about them. Our theme for the whole of this year is deep and wide, and so 2 of our courses are about what it means to go deep in our faith, and that is to 2 of the ways that we do that are reading the Bible and in prayer. And so we're going to run the prayer course again. We ran it a few years ago, but it has been redone recently so that you can do it on Zoom and all online, and there's some extra different sessions on there as well, so it's a longer course than it was before. It's now 8 weeks long and it's going to be starting later on. And we're also doing a Bible course again. John and Malcolm are going to be hosting that. We also ran that a few years ago, and that also has been revamped so that it works really well online in that environment. And it would be great to have lots of us being able to meet on there and do those courses and learn a bit more about those different ways of going deeper in our faith. As well as that, we have a family-based faith course about what it means to lead your family in faith, to parent in faith, whether you're a parent or a grandparent or a carer, and Ruth is going to be leading us in that, and that's going to be a great one to join in with. And if you've got friends who've got questions about faith, then Alpha is running as well. So there's going to be loads of different things that you can join in with online over the next few weeks. Look out for the emails, look out for how you can sign up, all starting later on in a few weeks' time.